Hi, everybody. My name is Keith Freeze, and this is me pleading my case for the LA Kings to try and bring back Vladimir Tkachev. Now, um, I don't know if upper management or whatever had a falling out with him or whatever, but based on the certain things that I've been able to unpack, I don't think that this relationship ended on a bad note. Um, but Tkachyov was brought over on a 1 year deal back in the 2021-22 season, and he played 4 games with the Kings, had 2 points, was sent down to Ontario. He played in 41 games and had 29 points, a large number of those being assists, 22 of them. And if I remember right, with the Kings, his 2 points in those 4 games were both assists. So he's a playmaking winger. Now there was clips that you can still find on YouTube if you just type in Vladimir Tkachev LA Kings on YouTube. You'll find a whole bunch of clips of Tkachev with the Kings where he was scoring goals, and that was never Tkachev's game. So anybody that's posting those videos, I get it. You want to show goal scoring videos, that's great. Tkachev to me was one of those guys that could score a goal every so often and could be productive in that way. But he really is his elite skill was passing and ice vision mixed with creativity. So Tkachev to me would be super beneficial on today's Kings roster if he was playing with a guy like a Quentin Byfield or an Anze Kopitar that's a left shot centerman that wants stability on the right side. That was another thing too. The Kings used to play Tkachev at left wing even though he's a right shot. And I get why they do that because they want to open up the shooting lane and have you shoot from the middle. But to me, it's one of those things where you got to look at a guy's specific skill set. Is that applicable for a Samuel Fajimo? 100%. To put a right shot guy at left wing to open up his shooting, lane, then yes, that makes a whole lot of sense because Samuel Fajimo is a scorer. But Tkachev is a passer. Tkachev is a setup guy. He's a playmaker. He's the kind of guy that if you have him running on a line with a really fast center, he's the kind of guy that can keep up with that center and they can play tic-tac-toe with the puck all day and night because especially if it's a left shot centerman like a Kopitar, like a Deneau, like a Byfield, then they're going forehand to forehand because the lefty goes to the righty forehand to forehand. So you want a guy like this on your team, especially if you're going to have that many left shot centermen on your roster. You want a guy like this where you can just pass the puck between those two guys very quickly, very seamlessly, and Tkachev would be instrumental on a team like the Kings currently have. So when I spoke to, I won't name names. I'm not going to name names, and I'm not going to gaslight people either. This is just the truth of the matter. I spoke to a reporter close to the Kings. I won't say who. Again, I won't say who. You can imagine all day and night. Even if you get it right in your imagination, I'm not going to tell you who I talked to, okay? But I spoke to a reporter close to the team, and I asked them point blank, hey, what's the deal with Tkachev? Why is he down in or it was actually after he went back to the KHL after his stint with the Kings. But I said, why was he sent down to Ontario? Whatever, like, why didn't he come back to the Kings? I even asked, I said, was it a language barrier thing? And this reporter said, no, it wasn't. In fact, Tkachev was a consummate professional, and it had nothing to do with anything like that. Like, Tkachev was fine. He never complained. That's what this person told me. He never complained when he went down to Ontario, and he didn't complain when he was there. Now, for me, I'm saying the language barrier thing only because I remember during that season when he was down in Ontario, for a guy to score 29 points in 41 games, that should be a guy that you'd want to highlight in terms of post-game interviews, and Tkachev almost never did one, or if he did one, the Ontario Reign almost never posted any media thing about Tkachev after a game. So that was why I asked about the language barrier thing, kind of, whatever. But for this reporter to have told me, no, it had nothing to do with anything like that, and it had nothing to do with him being a complainer or anything. He was, he was a good guy. He showed up, he did his job, and that's what the Kings asked him to do. I think what happened is I think that the Kings were willing to let him go back to Russia because they didn't sign him to this, overpriced deal. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know exactly what he's making in the KHL, but I'm sure he's probably making a little bit more to go play back at home. And he's probably not too far from home in terms of where he lives in Russia on the team that he's playing on. So for him, it was probably it made more sense just to go back and not be too far from home, make a little bit of money. That said, I think that just based on his play that he played in Ontario, he should have gotten a job with the LA Kings. And the Kings should have said to him, hey, we're going to sign you to this, whatever, 3-year, 4-year deal worth whatever, $2 million per season. Not break the bank. Just go get this guy on a deal and say to him, you get to play every day in the NHL. That's the point of this deal. You get to be an everyday NHL player. And I think he would have taken that deal. Now, I'm not his agent, and I've never spoken to Tkachyov. I wasn't there. Maybe the Kings did offer him that deal, and he said no. I don't know. But this, to me, is, if I'm just speaking objectively, that's the kind of deal that I think he would have signed. Now, speaking of signing, we'll check out this video. I will leave the link down in the description. You can also see down in the description, I always say no copyright infringement intended. I'm really not trying to infringe on anybody's content, but just to show you here, this was Tkachyov signing his original deal with the LA Kings, and this is still one of the coolest videos that I've seen because it's kind of a nice behind the scenes type thing. And the cool thing about this is he gets up, he puts on his jersey. Now, if he was with the Kings, he wouldn't be able to wear number 21. Jordan Spence is already wearing that. But Tkachyov, for a lot of times in his career, has worn the number 19. And so that is available. So if you bring Tkachyov back, Tkachyov in number 19 jersey would look sweet. But this is really cool. He puts on the hat, and I won't have the audio, but he basically says he's super excited to join the LA Kings. So he seemed really happy to be joining the team, and it's very cool. Like, I kind of wish a guy like this was still around. You can just kind of tell he's if it's true what the reporter told me, that he was a consummate professional and he went about his business, no problems, nothing, whatever. Why wouldn't you want a guy like this on your team, especially with his skill set where he's a passer? He's a guy that can help move the puck fast, not just with his legs, but his hands. And, I just miss a guy like this. I wish that this is the kind of character guys that the Kings still had in their roster. And Tkachyov, to me, I know why. Another reason why they kind of moved on was because they ended up picking up Kevin Fiala, and Fiala has a really similar skill set to Tkachyov, if not a better, whatever. Like Kevin Fiala is Tkachyov, but a step above for sure. I'm not even going to deny it. Kevin Fiala is an exceptional playmaker, puck handler, skill guy, and him and Tkachyov have a similar skill set. But why not have a Kevin Fiala and a Vladimir Tkachev is my point. There's room for many. So, I don't know how things ended with Tkachyov, whatever, but if I was the GM of the LA Kings, he'd be the first guy that I'm calling and saying, hey, remember me? He'd be like, I don't remember you, but I remember the team. And I'd, but I'd call him and I'd at least see what his interest would be. Either way, that's today's video. My name is Keith Freeze. Thank you for checking it out. And as always, go Kings go.